I knew things were bad when I wanted to throw my coffee cup at my husband's head. And then I was like, oof, I can't ignore these feelings of stress anymore. You see, even with all of my knowledge on women's health and hormones, I tend to ignore this very important element that I'm going to share with you today because I'm a doer, I'm an action taker, and I always find doing the quiet stuff, the stress reduction work, let's just say there's always something else I could be doing instead. But I'm here to tell you that without fail, you have to do the stress reduction, you have to do the quiet time, you have to do the self-care. Without it, there's no chance of having happy hormones, and in the peri to postmenopausal years, it becomes even more fundamental. So in this video, I'm going to share with you why at this time we become so much more sensitive to stress, to anxiety, to overthinking. And I'm also going to share with you 7 easy to implement tips to help reduce stress. Hi, I'm Chelsea Green, holistic hormone specialist, and I help women transition from peri to postmenopause naturally using homeopathy, herbs, nutrition, and lifestyle medicine. And in this video, we're talking about stress, which unfortunately in our modern way of living is all-consuming. But the thing to know about stress is that it's not actually a bad thing. We don't want to get rid of our stress hormones. They are the hormones that keep us alive. They're the hormones that help us to get out of bed each day and get on with our day. They are the hormones that keep us safe. So if we were to accidentally step out in front of an oncoming car, we automatically jump out of the way. That's the stress hormone at work. So it's a great hormone and we want it, but we want it to be in balance rather than all-consuming. However, in our modern way of living, we're surrounded by stress all day long. Everything from our alarm clock to traffic jams to emails to 24-hour news cycles to social media posts. And that's before we look at the bigger stresses like financial worries, work deadlines, juggling home life and work life, caring for elderly parents, physical stresses like toxins and poisons and viruses and injuries. And then we have emotional stresses as well, trauma, grief, bereavement, and other emotional upsets. And us women in the peri to postmenopausal years, we're what they call the sandwich generation. We may have had children later in life. Meanwhile, our parents are getting elderly, and so we're sandwiched between caring for those 2 generations, whilst at the same time being the first generation of you can have it all. So we're working full-time and running a household, effectively running 2 full-time jobs on the same amount of money and the same amount of time, and perhaps even on less time off to care for ourselves. In fact, hit the like button if you can relate to that scenario. So by the time we hit perimenopause, our adrenal glands, which are responsible for making our stress hormones, are absolutely exhausted, and then they're given the role of making estrogen and progesterone as well. When we hit perimenopause, progesterone falls off a cliff, and progesterone is our calming hormone, and it also interacts with GABA, the calming neurotransmitter in the brain. So less progesterone, less GABA, and less of its calming effect. At the same time, estrogen is in decline, and estrogen would normally keep our stress hormones in check. So we have less estrogen, higher stress levels, and less resilience to cope with that stress. And that's why we end up in this state where we just can't cope with all the little things that we used to be able to deal with so efficiently and so easily. And when we're highly stressed, it impairs our sleep, it impairs our ability to think clearly, it causes hot flushes, weight gain, joint pain, bloating, a loss of motivation, overthinking, anxiety, and a loss of libido. And of course, all of these things cause more stress, and so then we end up in this vicious cycle. And when we're in this state, the brain becomes hyper alert, over vigilant, on the lookout for more and more threats, and round it goes. At this point, we're spending most of our time in a fight or flight state, and that's what we don't want. That's where most of the damage is done. Instead, we want to be spending more time in our rest and digest state, in that calming, parasympathetic rest and digest state. And this means that we have to be really boundaried about doing our daily stress reduction, our self-care, prioritizing our needs, and we have to do it every single day. This will not only help you to reduce your stress levels on a day-to-day basis, but it helps the body to be more adaptable, to be able to move between that fight or flight state and the rest and digest state, which is what we want. So I want to share with you some really easy to implement tools that you can use daily to help you to move into that rest and digest state. The first tool is looking at your diet and removing inflammatory foods, sugar being the big one. When we eat sugar, we end up on that blood sugar roller coaster, and in the low of the roller coaster, we have a cortisol response, we have a stress response. By eating sugar, we're simply dumping more stress into the system. And in fact, check out this video here I did on the 9 foods I eat daily for some simple ideas of how you could swap out sugar. yoga. Tip number 2, go for a walk, ideally in the morning. That early morning sunshine directly into the eyes without sunglasses helps to reset the circadian rhythm cycle. That's your wake-sleep cycle, which means that you'll sleep better. When we sleep better, we have greater stress resilience. Also, time in nature is incredibly grounding and it helps to lower cortisol levels. Tip number 3 is Yoga Nidra. After watching this video, you can search here on YouTube Yoga Nidra videos. Yoga Nidra simply means yogic sleep, and all you have to do is lay down for 10 to 15 minutes. It's really calming and again, really useful for lowering those stress levels, and quick, only takes 10 minutes. Tip number 4 is breathwork. I love the 4-4 breath, but again, you can search here on YouTube for different ideas on breath. Simply deep belly breathing will help to lower your stress levels. The breath is so powerful and it can shift us really quickly from the flight or fight state into a rest and digest state. Tip number 5 is practice saying no. As women, we are very good at doing things out of a sense of obligation, feeling it's the right thing to do, feeling guilty if we say no. Now is your time to stop that. You have to prioritize your self-care, and if someone else is running your life, running your diary, then that's not going to happen. So as the saying goes, no is a complete sentence. Practice saying it. Tip number 6, take a really good quality magnesium supplement. Magnesium acts as a nerve tonic. It really helps to calm down the entire system. And when we're stressed, we burn through magnesium. I like a magnesium glycinate. I will link to my favorite product in the notes below this video. And tip number 7, also a herbal supplement, is ashwagandha. Ashwagandha is an adaptogen herb and it helps to build up stress resilience. So that helps us to be able to cope better with day-to-day stresses. So there you have it, 7 easy to implement tips to help reduce menopausal stress. But actually, an 8th tip. Don't try to implement all of these things at once. Just choose 1 or 2 things and commit to 10 minutes a day. And when that becomes your norm, build on that from there. If you try to do all of these things all at once, it would lead to overwhelm and to more stress. So just choose 1 or 2 things that really resonate with you. And in the meantime, 3 free things, that's really hard to say, 3 free things to help you on your way. Number 1, grab my free download, Thriving in the Menopause. You can find it in the notes below this video. It'll build on everything that we've talked about here. Number 2, hit the subscribe button and the bell notification, because next week I'm going to build on this video talking about ventral vagus nerve toning, which is another great tool for reducing stress, building stress resilience, and all the activities are fun things to do. And number 3, watch this video that I mentioned on the 9 foods that I eat every single day for a natural and mostly symptom-free perimenopause period.